Number 15. The village that marries a pine tree. In the Prekmurje region of northeastern Slovenia, a year without a wedding can still end with a grand ceremony, but the bride isn't human. This custom, called Borovo Gostovanje, or pine tree wedding, is usually held during carnival. If no couples in the village married the previous year, the villagers choose a pine tree in the forest, decorate it, and then turn the entire event into a communal wedding with the bride, groom, parents, matchmaker, and guests. The whole village plays along. The procession carries the Christmas tree through the streets, to music, jokes, and satirical performances, before culminating in a communal feast. In the past, this ritual served as a way for the community to remind single people of marriage and the responsibility of maintaining the village's population. But today, it is primarily held to preserve local identity, unite residents, and raise funds for community activities. The actual wedding isn't necessarily any easier. In the Shrenga ritual, friends and neighbors erect ropes, logs, or other obstacles on the way to the bride's house. The groom must negotiate, complete challenges, sing, offer drinks, or pay a symbolic fee before being allowed to proceed. In Slovenia, even love must transcend the village. Slovenia has only about 1 million residents, but by 2025, its accommodation facilities are expected to handle nearly 7 million visitors and over 8 million nights of stay. This means a small country has to operate roads, hotels, restaurants, and attractions for a number of tourists many times greater than its own population. The pressure is not evenly distributed. The majority of tourists are concentrated in a few popular locations, such as Ljubljana, Lake Bled, Piran, and the Alpine resorts. In the summer, roads to Bled can be congested. Parking lots quickly fill up, and pathways around the lake have to accommodate both locals and thousands of people coming to take photos. In Ljubljana and Piran, short-term rental apartments can also compete with the housing needs of the local population. Tourism creates jobs, but it also takes up space. Local businesses benefit from hotels, restaurants, transport, and outdoor activities, while the authorities must address waste, traffic, noise, and the pressure on nature. Therefore, Slovenia is encouraging tourists to visit in the spring or fall, stay longer, and explore less well-known areas instead of just moving between a few familiar landmarks. The challenge is clear. Slovenia needs tourists to sustain its local economy, but it must also protect the very tranquility, nature, and quality of life that draw visitors here. Number 14. The blind dragon that can survive for years without food. Beneath the limestone caves of Slovenia lives a creature that looks like it stepped right out of a legend. It's called the Olm, a salamander that lives entirely in darkness underground. No light, no trees, almost no stable food source. After millions of years of adapting to this environment, the Olm's eyes have gradually atrophied and become covered by its skin, while its body has become so pale that it has a pinkish-white color, like human skin. But the Olm is not weak. It can live for a very long time, with a lifespan believed to reach decades, even nearly a century under the right conditions. Its extremely slow metabolism helps it conserve energy, so it can endure for years with almost no food. Instead of relying on sight, the Olm senses its environment through smell, chemical signals, vibrations in the water, and very subtle changes around its body. For centuries, the locals didn't know what this strange creature really was. After heavy rains, floodwaters sometimes carry Olms out of the deep caves. Their long bodies, pale skin, and red gills led people in the past to believe they were young dragons, offspring of giant creatures hiding within the mountains. That name still persists. Today, Olms are not only a strange symbol of Slovenian caves, but also a sign that the groundwater system remains clean enough to sustain life. Number 13. The lake that disappears into the ground. In southwestern Slovenia, Lake Cerknica doesn't function like a typical lake. It appears, then it disappears. After heavy rains or when the snow on the mountains melts, Water from streams and underground systems overflows into the karst valley, causing Lake Serknica to expand into a large lake, enough for people to boat, fish, and observe waterbirds. At its fullest, the lake can cover tens of square kilometers, completely changing the landscape of the area in a short time. But the water doesn't stay long. Beneath the lake lies a network of crevices, sinkholes, and caves formed in the limestone. As the water level drops, the entire volume of water gradually drains through these natural outlets, flowing deep underground and continuing its journey through an invisible underground system. Areas that were once submerged begin to emerge, leaving behind meadows, mudflats, and paths that can be walked or cycled. The same place, two completely different lives. During the high water season, residents can use boats to travel and fish. When the lake is low, they take their livestock to the fields, harvest grass, and traverse areas that were previously submerged. This constant change is what makes Lake Serknica one of Europe's most famous seasonal lakes and a clear testament to Slovenia's unique karst landscape. Number 12. The monsters that return every winter. In the late days of winter, the villages around Puj suddenly resound with the heavy ringing of bells. From the cold mist emerge furry creatures, wearing fierce masks and leaping continuously through the streets. These are Kurenti. They don't come to scare children. According to Slovenian folklore, Kurenti go from house to house to ward off winter, evil spirits, and misfortune, while awakening spring and bringing a bountiful harvest. Around each person's waist is a row of large metal bells, creating a loud, jarring sound with each leap. Some Kurenti also carry sticks made of porcupine skin, while their masks, with their long red tongues, large teeth, and horns, make them look both comical and terrifying. The louder the better. This tradition thrives most in Putuj and surrounding areas in northeastern Slovenia. During the Kurentovanje festival, groups of Kurenti appear alongside many other carnival characters, transforming the ancient streets into a parade of bells, furs, music, and masks. In 2017, the Kurenti House-to-House Festival was inscribed by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The setting of the festival is equally unique. Putuj is considered the oldest city in Slovenia, once an important Roman settlement called Poetovio. Above the red-tiled roofs stands Putuj Castle, while below, each carnival season, the monsters return to drive winter away from the city. Number 11. The language with a special grammar for two. Slovenian retains a feature that most European languages have lost: a grammatical form specifically for two people or two things. Not singular, not plural either. When a Slovenian speaks of the two of us, the sentence is constructed differently than when speaking of a group of three or more people. Pronouns, nouns, adjectives, and verbs can all change to indicate that only two objects are being referred to. Two people walking use one verb form. Three people walking use another. Even simple objects like two books or two mountains have their own structure. The number two holds a special place. This grammatical form, called dual, once appeared in many ancient languages, but now only fully exists in a few modern languages. For learners of Slovenian, it makes grammar more complex, but for native speakers, it is a natural part of everyday communication. This detail is even more interesting because the name Slovenia contains the word love, an image often used in the tourism industry's slogan, "I feel Slovenia." This is just a play on words, not the origin of the country's name, but in a language that has a structure specifically for two people. This association is still hard to forget. Number 10. 4 different worlds in one tiny country. Slovenia is so small that many people assume its landscape would be quite uniform. The reality is quite the opposite. In just a few hours of travel, visitors can traverse 4, almost completely separate geographical worlds. To the northwest lies the Alps, with their high mountains, glacial lakes, deep valleys, and villages accustomed to winter snow. Heading east, the landscape gradually unfolds into the Pannonian Plains, featuring farmland, vineyards, mineral springs, and towns with a slower pace of life. To the southwest lies the karst region, with its limestone formations, sinkholes, and rivers that seem to disappear from the face of the earth. A little further on is the Adriatic coast, where red-tiled roofs, seafood, and Venetian-influenced architecture feel closer to Italy than to Central Europe. The distance is very short. A day in Slovenia can begin with a hike in the mountains, continue with lunch among the vineyards, and end with sunset by the sea. The changes aren't just in the landscape. The climate, building materials, food, and even the pronunciation of Slovenian vary by region. Stews and dairy products are common in the mountains, while the coast offers fish, olive oil, and Mediterranean flavors. But the most intriguing part lies between these regions, for beneath the karst plateau, water has silently seeped through the limestone for millions of years, creating a vast world beneath Slovenia. Number 9. The hidden country beneath Slovenia. Beneath the forests, towns, and roads of Slovenia lies another country, darker, colder, and almost completely hidden. Slovenia lies on a vast karst limestone region, where rainwater seeps through cracks and silently erodes the Earth's crust over millions of years, creating thousands of caves, tunnels, sinkholes, and underground rivers. Many of these systems remain largely unexplored. Some are only wide enough for researchers to crawl through, while others open up into enormous chambers of rock. Postojna is the most famous cave. Visitors not only hike, but also take a tram deep into the mountain, passing through rock columns, curtains, and stalactites that took hundreds of thousands of years to form. But Shkochan is even more spectacular. Here, the Reka River disappears from the surface and plunges into a vast underground canyon, flowing beneath bridges and cliffs as high as multi-story buildings. The sound of the water echoing in the darkness makes this place seem like a world separated from the surface. These caves are not just for tourism. They determine how water moves, where streams appear, and the vulnerability of drinking water sources, because in karst terrain, surface pollutants can quickly enter the underground system. In Slovenia, what happens below always affects life above. Number 8. The castle that used a mountain as a secret door. Predjama Castle wasn't built next to a mountain. It was built straight into the mountain itself. The castle sits within the entrance of a cave on a high cliff, with the natural rock serving as its walls, roof, and defense all at once. From the outside, an attacker would only see a rocky facade clinging to the cliff face, but behind the chambers lies a network of caves and tunnels extending deep into the earth. This was the secret escape route. According to the most famous story about Predjama, the knight Erasm once took refuge there during a prolonged siege. The enemy controlled the main entrance and believed the castle's supplies would quickly run out. However, the tunnels behind allowed supplies to be transported through the mountain, enabling Erasm to hold out for months. Legend says he even threw fresh food down to the besiegers to prove the castle hadn't run out. But the secret was eventually betrayed. A servant is said to have revealed when Erasm was most vulnerable, helping the enemy end the siege, not by breaching the gates, but by betrayal from within. If castles with secret tunnels and bizarre histories like this pique your interest, subscribe to the channel, because Slovenia still has many incredible stories waiting to be discovered. Number 7. The Shepherd Village Above the Clouds. On the Velika Planina Plateau, wooden huts are scattered across the grasslands, like a village isolated from the world below. The huts are roofed with long wooden planks, pulled low to the ground to protect against strong winds, rain, and snow. From a distance, they resemble giant hats perched on the mountainside. Summer truly begins here. When the grass on the plateau is green enough, the herdsmen bring their cattle from the valley up the mountain and live in Velika Planina for months. They care for the herds, milk them daily, and process the milk into yogurt, butter, and other dairy products for their families, or to sell to tourists. Life is simple, but entirely dependent on the weather, water sources, and the health of their livestock. Most special is trench, a dried dairy product shaped like a pear, decorated with hand-carved patterns. Traditionally, herdsmen make trench in pairs. One is kept. and the other is given as a gift to the woman they love. A small gift, a very personal declaration of love from the mountains. Today, Velika Planina is both a preserve of traditional pastoral life and one of Slovenia's most recognizable mountain landscapes. Number 6. The famous white horses that are born dark. In Lipica, the horses famous for their almost luminous white coats are not usually born that color. Most Lipizzanner horses are born black, dark brown, or dark gray. Then they change color. As they mature, their coats gradually lighten over the years due to the breed's genetic traits, eventually turning a very light gray that many simply call white. This process can take many years, so in the same herd you can see dark-colored foals standing next to almost completely white adults. The Lipizzanner breed was developed in Lipica, starting in 1580, when the region belonged to the Habsburg Empire. Breeders combined different horse lines to create a breed that was strong, intelligent, well-balanced, and capable of performing complex riding maneuvers. They are not just beautiful. Lipizzanner is associated with the Spanish riding school in Vienna, where the horses are trained for years to perform classic maneuvers with precision, including their famous aerial jumps. Although they perform in Austria, the breed's name originates from Lipica, a small Slovenian village that produced one of the world's most recognizable horse breeds. Number 5. The country where beekeeping became a national identity. In Slovenia, beekeeping is more than just agriculture. It's part of the national identity. Many families pass down beekeeping knowledge through generations, from how to set up hives and track flowering seasons to harvesting honey without harming the bee colony. In a country with a small land area but abundant forests, grasslands, and mountains, bees play a vital role in both food production and the natural ecosystem. Slovenia has brought that story to the world. The country was a major force behind the United Nations designation of May 20th as World Bee Day, highlighting the role of bees and pollinators in global agriculture. This day is also associated with Anton Janša, a Slovenian who greatly influenced modern beekeeping techniques. The native Carniolan bee species is particularly valued for its docility, adaptability to the mountainous climate, and honey production efficiency, but the most recognizable aspect lies in the hives themselves. The front of traditional beehives is often painted with folk art, religious scenes, animals, and even humorous stories, turning each row of hives into an open-air art gallery. Today, Slovenia has also developed bee tourism. Visitors can tour bee farms, sample various types of honey, learn about bee navigation, and even experience relaxing activities related to the aromas emanating from the beehives. In Slovenia, bees don't just produce honey, they create an entire culture. Number 4. The world's oldest vine is still making wine. On the facade of an old house by the Drava River in Maribor, a vine continues to bear leaves and fruit after more than 4 centuries. It belongs to the Zamatovka variety, also known as Modra Kavčina, and is recognized as the world's oldest continuously producing vine. It is still alive. The vine dates back to a time when Maribor faced Ottoman attacks, then survived numerous fires in the city, the vine worm plague that devastated much of Europe's vineyards, and the great upheavals of the 20th century. While the buildings, streets, and administration around it constantly change, the old trunk clings to the wall and continues to grow. Each year, the locals hold a public harvest ceremony. The carefully picked bunches of grapes are then processed into a very small amount of wine, usually only about 100–250 milliliters bottles. They are not sold as regular wine, but are used as ceremonial gifts from the city to heads of state, organizations, and special guests. But Maribor is only part of the story. Slovenia has 3 main wine-growing regions, with very different climates and soils. Podravia is famous for its white wines. Primorska is Mediterranean-influenced and produces a wide variety of red wines. And Posavia is known for its Sviček, a light blended wine made from several grape varieties. A small country, a big wine culture. Number 3. The Emerald River, hiding a deadly battlefield. The Soča River flows through western Slovenia in such a striking turquoise color that sections appear almost unreal. Its clear, cold water, surrounded by rocky mountains, dense forests, and narrow gorges, makes this valley one of the country's most recognizable natural areas. Today, it's bustling with activity. Visitors come to go rafting, kayaking, fishing, cycling, and hiking along the riverside paths. The fast-flowing sections attract adventure sports enthusiasts, while the quieter areas are known for their native socha trout, but the present beauty hides a completely different past. During World War I, the Socha Valley was on the Isonzo front, where Italian and Austro-Hungarian troops fought fierce battles. Soldiers had to dig trenches on the mountainside, build bunkers in the rock, and transport weapons across the steep, cold, and dangerous terrain. Many died not only from artillery fire but also from avalanches, disease, and harsh weather conditions. The traces remain. Along the valley, visitors can encounter trenches, tunnels, fortresses, military cemeteries, and chapels built to commemorate the dead. Some modern walking trails even connect these war sites. The Socha River today is a symbol of Slovenian tourism, but beneath its turquoise waters lies the memory of one of Europe's harshest battlefields. Number 2. The Slovenian town built on toxic metal. Idrija is a small Slovenian town built on something both precious and dangerous: mercury. After its discovery in the late 15th century, it quickly developed into one of the world's most important mercury mining centers. The entire town lives underground. Beneath the streets and houses lies a network of deep tunnels where generations of miners have toiled in darkness, high humidity, and air filled with toxic metal vapors. Mercury is used in metallurgy, medicine, and many industries. So the Idrija mines provided a significant source of income for the region and the empires that once controlled it, but the price was also high. Prolonged exposure could damage the nervous system, affecting memory, mobility, and overall health of the workers. Above ground, Idrija is known for a completely different profession. Local women developed the technique of making lace with spools of thread, creating intricate patterns that were once sold throughout Europe. This craft became an important source of income for mining families and is still taught through schools, festivals, and workshops. Idrija also has its own dish, called idrijski žlikrofi. These are small dough balls filled with potatoes, onions, and spices, often served with meat or sauce. A town of toxic metals, exquisite lace, and small hat-shaped pastries. Number 1. Ljubljana, the quiet capital, guarded by dragons. Ljubljana is a European capital, but it doesn't function like a city in a constant rush. The city center is largely dedicated to pedestrians and cyclists, while cars are restricted on many streets around the Old Town and the Ljubljanica River. The city embraces tranquility. Residents can walk across squares, cycle along the riverbank, or use the public bike system to get around the city center. For the elderly, people with disabilities, or tourists who have difficulty walking, free mini trolleys are available in car-free zones, providing access to streets where regular vehicles are not permitted. Life slows down noticeably on Sundays. Many shops close, the streets are less crowded, and the city is quieter than many European capitals known for shopping and nightlife. Ljubljana doesn't completely shut down, but it feels like it's resting. Amidst this tranquility, a very different symbol emerges. Dragons are featured on the city's coat of arms, souvenirs, and especially on Dragon Bridge, where 4 bronze dragon statues stand guard at the corners of the bridge. Local legend links this creature to Jason and the Argonauts, who are said to have defeated a monster in the swamps near Ljubljana, a capital with few cars, but full of dragons. A Venetian town on a coastline barely there. Slovenia has a very short coastline, nestled between Italy and Croatia, but within that small space, the country boasts seaports, ancient towns, fishing villages, resorts, and salt flats that have existed for centuries. The most striking example is Piran. The town sits on a narrow peninsula jutting into the Adriatic Sea, with its closely packed stone houses, red-tiled roofs, and winding alleyways around the hillsides. Tartini Square opens into the old town. While the bell tower of St. George's Church overlooks the entire coastline, the architecture here bears a distinct Venetian influence, as Piran was under the control of the Republic of Venice for centuries. It feels like Italy, but it's still Slovenia. Near Piran are the Sechovia salt flats, where sea salt is still produced using sun, wind, and traditional methods. Salt producers channel seawater into shallow ponds, wait for the water to evaporate, and then harvest the remaining crystals. The process is slow, weather-dependent, and almost the opposite of modern industrial production. The small coastline also creates significant pressure: tourism, fishing, cargo ports, nature reserves, and the lives of the residents all share a limited space. In the summer, streets and parking lots quickly become overloaded. Slovenia has almost no coastline. But that small amount of sea contains a whole Mediterranean world. Mountains are part of everyday infrastructure. In Slovenia, mountains are not just scenery for tourists. They are a part of daily life. Hiking, climbing, skiing, and high-altitude cycling are familiar activities for many families, especially on weekends. When people leave the city for the nearby valleys and slopes, thousands of kilometers of clearly marked trails connect to mountain lodges where hikers can eat hot meals, rest overnight, or take shelter from the changing weather. It's almost a different transportation system. On the trails, Slovenians often greet those coming from the opposite direction, not only out of politeness but also because in the high mountain environment, strangers can become the first source of assistance if an accident occurs. Conquering Triglav, the country's highest mountain, and also featured on the national flag, is considered an unofficial ritual to become a true Slovenian. But the mountains aren't always pleasant. Alpine weather can change in minutes, turning sunshine into rain, fog, or cold winds before climbers have a chance to descend. Rescue teams often have to deal with falls, disorientation, or climbing with inappropriate footwear and equipment. In Slovenia, mountains are always very close, and precisely because they are so familiar, they are both playgrounds, trails, traditions, and places that demand utmost respect. A small passport with EU-sized power. Slovenia has a population of just over 2 million, yet its passport is among the most powerful in the world, allowing its holders access to many destinations without requiring a visa. However, its true value lies not only in convenient travel. This is a European Union passport. Slovenian citizens have the right to live, study, find work, and work in EU member states under the rules of free movement. This transforms the passport of a small nation into a gateway to a much larger labor market, education system, and way of life than Slovenia itself. Some people with Slovenian ancestry may also apply for citizenship under special circumstances. But this is not an automatic path based solely on name, family photos, or a story passed down. The government requires descendants, within certain limits, to prove their ancestry, maintain active ties to Slovenia for many years, and provide evidence of activity in Slovenian community organizations abroad. There are no easy shortcuts. Brokerage services, advertising, passport loopholes, or promising guaranteed success should be viewed with caution, as the final decision rests with the state and depends on the actual records. That is the final paradox of Slovenia, a country many people still mistake for Slovakia, yet possesses a passport that can open access to almost all of Europe and much of the world.